Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to refinish some wheels. I have a Chrysler 200 and it's got 17-inch wheels, and I always wanted the 19-inch wheels that did not come on mine. But I found a pair and I love them. But I've had them for like a year and a half and they are curb rashed like no other. I'm not gonna get all obsessed. Some people do the whole I'm finishing my wheels and I'm gonna fill it in with body filler and everything else. I'm not doing all that. So I'm just going to sand them down and paint them and knock stuff over apparently. So let's get started. What you can see when I do is I'm taking the tape and I'm sliding it in between the tire and the rim. So that way I could paint all along this edge. We're not going to get the tire all covered in paint. One thing you might want to do is get a little plastic tool and you can work the tape down into the lip of the rim. Right by the bead there, make it a little bit easier. And you can find some spots where like I know I need to put a little more tape and just keep going around. Just gives you, so you don't end up with any odd areas where the tape bubbled up. Alright, so now that we have our big green donut, we're going to sand everything down. I am going to put some tape on the valve stem itself so that way we don't clog up the valve, and we'll be able to start knocking everything out. Just like magic, I'll get that wheel over here done and we'll be able to tape it off just like that. So now that we have everything taped off and I've gone around and I've made sure that everything's tucked in and I'm confident that I'm going to get a good edge to this, we're going to start sanding. Need a little bit of breathing protection because you don't want to breathe in whatever is going to come off of this. Alright, so now that we went through and sanded it, I wasn't happy with it. So I ended up using a 3M Scotch-Brite pad and went over everything. And it worked a lot better. I feel that it gives the scuffing to the surface without really marring the surface. But I still did use some sandpaper on the edges where I have a little bit of curb rash just to smooth it out. And I'm gonna go wash the wheels off, let them dry, and then we'll put on some primer. So we are back and we have our wheels that have spent some time drying from scuffing and sanding yesterday. So we're gonna throw in some primer because that's the next step. Now I probably went a little too heavy. I'm probably going to end up with a few little runs, but again, I'm not worried about it. But I did make sure that one of the things I did was spray on an angle to get down in between where the tire and the rim are. So that way you get the color over the edge, which is also important. But you can see like right here, I have a little bit of a run. I'm not that worried about it. All in all, it's pretty uniform. I'm going to do another coat, probably 2, I think is what it requires, but I have to let 10 minutes go before I can do it. And since I went on a little heavy, I'm probably going to give it like 20 minutes at least before I go on another coat. Okay, so I'm wearing my face protection, so if you can't hear me, sorry, but I don't want to get high. But we did our second coat on this, did a heavy, or a little lighter second coat on that. As you saw, this one was a little bit heavier, but I think they're going to dry and they're going to look great. And then we're going to be ready to throw on some paint. So we're going to let these sit for 24 hours and we'll come back to it and see how they look. All right, so it's been a little bit over 24 hours since we put the primer on, and I think it's turned out pretty good. Take a look for yourself. You can see it's on, it's smooth, doesn't have any of the sheen anymore. I think both are pretty much about the same. This one's a little darker because of the light in the ceiling, but they both have good coverage, they feel good, and we're gonna throw some paint on. At least get the first coat done and see how it goes. We're gonna let that dry and give it a chance to cure up, and then we'll come back and I'll do another pass over it. But we're gonna give this, let's say, another 15 minutes to flash, and then come back and we'll hit it again. First coat is done. I think it looks pretty good. Color's nice. Obviously it's not full coverage. I think it looks very nice. You know, again, I'm not looking to fix that stuff, because from back here, you don't see that stuff. I don't care. So, let's get the second coat on. We are another 24 hours later. We have the wheels painted, and we are going to get down to putting clear on them. Yeah, let's peel this tape off, see how it looks. It's kind of like I'm wrapping a Christmas present. Final piece, center cap. That's awesome. I mean, I don't think, in all honesty, I could be much happier unless they were brand new. Definitely put time into it. It was not a quick process. I've seen a lot of videos. The reason I wanted to do this video is because I've seen a lot of videos where people just, you know, they do it in like 5.5 minutes, and it's like, pss, 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 you know, oh yeah, look at that, it's all done, and this is how it comes out. It is a labor of love. You've got to scuff it. You've got to clean it. You've got to prime it. You've got to paint it. You've got to clear it. And the results are worth it. It really is worth it, but it's not quick. So if you're willing to put the time into it, it's going to come out great. But let's get them on the car and see how they look. Alright, that's going to do it for this video, but I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hopefully this is something you realize you can do too in your driveway, in your garage, over a weekend, and bring a lot of new life to your car. I'm so happy with how this turned out. So hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I appreciate that. Take two. Take four. As a guy I used to work with would say, would you look at it? Would you just look at it? This is something you want to try and tackle yourself. Fucking airplane.